Welcome back. We're just a little over 2 weeks away from the biggest NFL game of the season. Super Bowl 52 is expected to draw around 1 million visitors to the Twin Cities, and that means it's crunch time for those in advertising. Joining us tonight is Kathleen Petersen, who is the Vice President of Media at Nina Hale. Kathleen, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So it's crunch time for advertisers. How does a hometown Super Bowl impact what they do ahead of the big game?
Well, I think there's two main things that having the Super Bowl here in Minneapolis has done. One, it's created a lot of opportunity. As you said, 1 million people are expected to be in town to join the festivities. Only 70,000 of them are going to the game. So the rest of those people are going to be here looking for entertainment, where to watch the game, what restaurants to eat at, which has created a really big opportunity for local publishers to provide content. And it's expected that some local publishers will have 10 times the amount of visitors that they normally have to their site, because those visitors are going to have money to spend, and a lot of people are going to want to get in front of them. Now, on that note, the second thing that it's done is create demand and drive it through the roof, especially when it comes to local broadcast within the game and within out-of-home placements. So your billboards, your skyway signage, there are only a finite number of ad spaces like that, and once they're gone, which means that people or companies that own those ad spaces can charge 2 to 10 times more than they normally would for advertisers.
Because they know a lot of eyes will be on them when those folks are here for the game. The Bold North has been a theme that has been running throughout the Super Bowl planning period here in Minnesota. Do you think that that will be reflected in the advertisements that people put out?
I think we might see some of that in local advertisements. In the national ones, not as much. I expect with national advertisements, we'll see more feelings of like family value and diversity, just given what's going on in the country right now. And something I don't expect we'll see that we might have seen in previous years is like ads featuring scantily clad women. I think that there won't be as much of that as we might see in sports events in previous years.
Probably good, because it's a family-friendly event. We know that a lot of kids will be watching that as well. The Vikings have a big game tomorrow. They could make it to the Super Bowl. If they make it into the Super Bowl, it's a hometown one, the first time that's ever happened. Will that have any impact on what advertisers do?
Well, most ad space has been booked for weeks, if not months. So really how the advertisers will benefit is that they will be having that many more eyeballs on their content. When you consider that, you know, it's expected that 70% of people who are watching television that night will be watching the game. If the Vikings are in the game, then here in the Twin Cities, that number is going to be even higher.
Right. And outside of TV commercials, we know that advertising is expansive across our entire cultures, especially with things like these iPads, iPhones. What advertisements will people be placing on social media in the Super Bowl?
Well, and speaking of social media and the television advertisements, you know, it's when people are watching or on their devices while they're watching the game, that's a big place where that conversation is happening. So brands who maybe aren't even putting ads in the game are going to want to be getting in on that conversation so they can still kind of feed off the excitement of the Super Bowl. And there will be a lot of like content around town with local brands doing advertising on social as well.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I feel like we've seen a lot of preview ads. Sometimes advertisers release commercials, sneak peeks ahead of the Super Bowl. Not a lot of that happening this year. So there's a lot of excitement happening before the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of like sneak peeks, like Stella Artois, one I know that you can watch their ad online, but not as many as we've seen in previous years.
Almost as much excitement for the commercials as there is for the game. Thank you so much for joining us.